What's up, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with NIO, Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I want to talk about the big earnings that just came out and how they're looking so far for the company, what you should be watching for as time progresses. But let me just mention that I am not a financial planner, so make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Mumu link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15. And this offer ends tomorrow, so check it out before they run out. Anyway, so I just wanted to mention to everyone that right now NIO is in a very, very critical place. We have this resistance at this 4.5 area. We've been consolidating in this range for quite some time. Overall, we're holding up quite well, but the question is what's going to happen for tomorrow since we have a very, very important day ahead of us. We have the Fomc meeting that's going to be very pivotal for not only the markets, but also for the future of monetary policy, the US economy, and such. So I'm going to break down information about that and talk about the share prices for NIO, Tesla, and the markets. I'm first going to talk about this data. So today, we just got AMD and Microsoft announcing their earnings. For tomorrow, we have Boeing in the morning, and then after the market closes, we have Meta, not to mention FOMC. Starting off with AMD, they actually did relatively well with earnings. They actually saw their data center sales increase more than what analysts were expecting. Also sold over $1 billion of its MI300 chips. So very, very bullish stuff, at least thus far. And its data center category rose 115% on an annual basis. They beat on EPS with 69 cents adjusted, and revenues beat at $5.83 billion above expectations. Also, they're increasing their guidance overall with about $6.7 billion in sales for the current quarter. That's what the valuation is coming out as, with net income doing relatively well. So good job, AMD. They beat on earnings. The share price is up 6% right now. Not bad. However, there's another stock that weighs even harder than AMD, and that's going to be Microsoft. Microsoft is also, another, trillion-dollar company. It's going to have a bigger effect on the markets. Unfortunately, it's actually dropping because of its cloud miss. That has overshadowed its earnings. So what happened was they beat on EPS with $2.95. They beat on revenue with 64.73 billion. They beat on EPS and revenue. Revenue is also 15%. However, one thing that's not too good is the fact that its cloud revenue is not looking as good. And the reason for that is because of the fact that this is causing a dip because of the fact that that's used for lots of competition with Amazon Web Services and Google for AI workloads. So that's kind of trumping their earnings, and we're seeing this having a negative effect on the share price. That's why the share price is down right now. So unfortunately, it's not the best of news. Guidance, I think, is still yet to come out, but I just want to say that that is what's trumping things. That's why that's why Microsoft is dipping quite a bit. Now, for tomorrow, I want to also call out that we have the Chicago PMI coming out at 9:45 a.m. Might cause some volatility 15 minutes after the market opens. And then at 2 o'clock p.m. tomorrow, we have the interest rate hike decision coming out. The Fed is going to keep rates the same, most definitely. And then we also have the FOMC meeting at 2:30 p.m. with Jerome Powell giving a speech. That's going to be very, very huge. So I just want to make it very clear that the market's not really worried about what interest rates will be. When the decision comes out that the Fed keeps rates the same, we might get a decent reaction. But the real reaction, the big reaction, the significant one is going to come during the press conference. And we're going to be listening to see what Jerome Powell has to say. Is the Fed going to keep rates high? Are they going to be cutting sooner than expected? The reason this is important is because when you look at the Fed fund futures, you guys can see that we're seeing a very, very big shift right here. Currently, the rate is expecting a 95.9% chance of them keeping the rates the same for July. But for September, okay, the market's expecting an 85.8% chance the Fed gets a one cut. We're expecting one cut in September during the next FOMC meeting after the one for tomorrow. This is important because if the Fed confirms this, the market's going to be bullish. If they don't confirm this, the market's going to be scared. It's going to be fearful. So we're going to be looking for a big reaction to the downside if the Fed does not confirm this. I'll be watching to see. As far as NIO goes, there's been a lot of talk about NIO's highlights for their innovation. There's a lot of talk about innovations being made to NIO's phone, not to mention their new AI chips. That's good news for them, at least moving forward. We also saw a big increase in their battery swaps. We saw them surpass about 2,500 battery swap stations. Excuse me. Most of them are in China. Good news for them. But right now, the news doesn't matter as much for NIO. We're kind of flat at 41 million in volume, but none of this really matters until we see what happens with the FOMC meeting and such. So for tomorrow, It's looking a little concerning for the markets, which could cause NIO to dip a little bit. I think we might actually kind of retest this 4.4 area, then maybe come back down. I think we might just continue to trade sideways. We've been stuck between 4.25 and 4.5 for the past 4 or 5 days. So I think we might pop and then start dipping back down to about 4.35 all over again. So 4.4 will be tested in 4.35. Lots of sideways price action. And then we have something big coming out. Okay. We have the FOMC meeting. So if Jerome Powell pumps the markets, we could see NIO trying to rebound as well above 4.5. We'd be looking for 4.6. And if Powell gives us the market the rug pulls, we could be dipping all the way back down to the lower fours. Jerome Powell will have a big effect. Tomorrow, it looks like we're going to dip in the morning, then start to consolidate, and then we'll see a big move thanks to Jerome Powell. I think the market may follow that trend. For SPY, because Microsoft is more impactful, we're actually dipping a little bit. So we look more bearish right now. We're favoring a move back down to these lows. I think we might be retesting 537, if not the 536 area down here. I do expect that that's going to be tested. I think we might see a little dip tomorrow. And then we might consolidate for a bit. And then whether or not we get a bounce or not depends on Jerome Powell. But I do think that there's some downside potential on SPY right now. For NVIDIA, we have some upside potential, just some. I think we could be retesting 108 and maybe even the 110s. Watch for a test of 108s tomorrow. I think we're going to bounce thanks to AMD. So this is a kind of like an exception. For Bitcoin, it's going to likely retest 66,500. We'll see if it rejects or not. It is kind of dipping below its 20 EMA, so it's kind of showing some weakness. We'll see how things progress from here. For ES, by the way, ES is also looking kind of bearish, not looking the best. It also dipped very, very recently. So we're going to be looking at this 5,440 area. If that breaks, we'll be looking for more downside, so watch for that. As far as Tesla goes, we're on a bit of a downtrend right now. Tesla's showing a little bit of weakness. We have this 220 area as our key support. Tomorrow it might rebound and try to retest 225 and then just consolidate from here. I think there's going to be a risk of that. This could even be forming kind of like a head and shoulders. So if we do kind of bounce and then start to continue to fall, that's another possibility. But look for a little retest of 224 or so and then possibly a little bit of a dip lower. That could lead to more downside. And I think that there is a risk of that for Tesla looking at the current trend, especially because of some negative news from Microsoft. For the QQQ, I think that there's a risk of downside, especially because Microsoft is dipping. We'll see if we could try to hold 450, the 452.5 area. If not, 450 is likely coming. We still look more bearish, so we're favoring downside, so that's looking more probable to me. Apple's looking a little bearish, but it's not that bad. I think it's still kind of range bound. Might retest all the way down here in this 215 area, so I favor that a little bit more. That's looking a little bit more probable to me. For the IWM, we're still holding up above 222. We could be pushing for 224. Look for some consolidation. Coinbase is looking a little bit more bearish. I think we're going to be dipping down to the lower 220s. We still have this gap to fill, so I think it's going to dip a little bit more towards 220. For AMD, AMD's on a bit of a downtrend. We could continue to fall from right here. We have not AMD, Amazon. Amazon's kind of dipping. It's dipping with Microsoft. So we're going to be looking to see what happens down here at this 174 area. Expect a little bit more downside. I think it's going to dip to 174. If that fails us, watch 172. We're seeing Meta also falling with Microsoft. That's how impactful it is. Going to be looking for support at 450. We'll see if this holds or not. If not, we're going to be dipping down to 444. So just be careful. We have two more left. Microsoft is also just dipping. It's down 6%, guys. Not looking too good. We'll have to see if this could try to base around the 390 area. We'll see if that holds or not. It's still looking bearish. Google's also kind of dipping a little bit thanks to Microsoft. It might dip back down towards 168, so just be careful. So we'll see how things go. Anyways, that's pretty much it for my video. I want to thank you all so much for listening. As far as NIO goes, we might dip a little bit in the morning. That's my risk for everyone. We could be kind of like popping to 4.4, then dipping down to 4.2, the 4.2s, and then we'll see what happens from there. But then don't forget, we have Jerome Powell giving a speech, so that will impact if we get a bounce or not, depending on what he says about a Fed cut potentially in September or not. So that's going to cause a big move in the markets. Get ready, guys. Do what you have to do, and I'll see you guys very soon tomorrow on the next one. Have a great day, and peace out.